know. Like I feel like having a piece of Fire Festival merch would, like walk into a club with some Fire merch. Like, really, who is this guy?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the first ever episode of EDM Chatters, the brand new news show from EDM Matters about the EDM news that you care about. From brand new tracks to sensational stories and topics that matter, we're here to fill you in on what's happening. I am one of your hosts, Vincent Beck, producer slash DP here at EDM Matters. And with me, as always, is the LA show guy, our host of EDM Matters, Matt Meadow. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Vince. How you doing today?
I'm good. Just getting through the week, man.
Yeah, feel the same.
Yeah. So, what are we talking about today on the first ever episode? Can you believe it?
I can sort of believe it. It's one of those things that we've, had to do in quarantine because we can't meet in person. So, the first thing I want to talk about is Marshmello, actually. He launched his own animated kids show called Melodies, which is obviously a play on, the word melody because he's an artist. But the goal of it, Marshmello is like this huge brand, right? He's not just an artist. Like, his management has exploded his brand into every facet of culture. He has a cooking show, he does gaming, and now he's educating kids. So the series, which is I believe just on YouTube, I may be wrong, but essentially they've got a bunch of songs like Twinkle Twinkle and Wheels on the Bus and the ABCs, and it features a little character named Dee, the musical robot, which is
so Dee's a little marshmallow robot guy, right?
A little bit, yeah. There actually is a mini Marshmello in the show separate from Dee, but Dee is the main character on the show.
Right.
So, I mean, so as like a first question, when did you start listening to EDM, like as you know it today?
As I know it today, I think it was around 2010 or 2011, whenever Scary Monsters and Nice Sprites came out.
Same. How old were you though?
Oh gosh.
Simple math, Vince.
Senior year of high school, so it must have been like 18 at the time. Yeah.
So, yeah, I was around the same age when I first started listening to like Roscoe and Pendulum. So we were both like young adults, but the show is geared towards kids like 4 to 6 years old. Right. So it's exposing a much, much, much younger generation of kids, not necessarily to EDM, but at least to an EDM artist and his brand. So what do you think about like kids getting into EDM?
I think it's kind of like a perfect way to communicate, and sorry guys, starring for the first time ever, my cat Gigi, she loves to participate. So here's the thing. I think Marshmello gets a lot of, for lack of a better term, shit for what he does. And I mean, he's incredibly successful and people like to, shit on that. But at the same time, like it's such an accessible brand. It's not like,
it really is.
It's not like I don't want to like throw shade at like Excision or anything, but you can't market Excision to kids. But for something like Marshmello, I think that's a great way to get kids into our world or this industry, and this particular genre of music, right? And yeah. I mean, for me, the first like electronic music or electronic like track that I've ever listened to was Daft Punk's One More Time, but that was like,
yeah,
the music video was on MTV just randomly, and that was my introduction kind of like to a house track, for example. But when you think back in the day, like when you were learning as a child, like your ABCs or like
Yeah.
morals and how to be a good person, I feel like Marshmello kind of has a hand to kind of bring the positivity out of our industry, and I feel like that's what EDM really represents for us, and I think he can like communicate that with his brand and the show, and it's kind of like that perfect marriage.
Yeah, I mean, EDM talks about plur all the time: peace, love, respect, and for a lot of people, that whole ethos, that whole concept has sort of eroded because we have all these fandoms now who just lash out at each other. You have the bass heads who hate house. You have the trap heads who hate drum and bass. If that doesn't apply to you, then it doesn't apply to you. I'm sorry, but
it's a reality. It's a reality we live in.
Yeah, and like you said, I think Marshmello is in a very good place to instill these values in young children because he is such a universal brand. And what 4-year-old doesn't like a dude with a marshmallow bucket on his head?
Right.
Like, yeah. Like he's selling Halloween costumes, and the people who are producing the show also say that this is going to be a huge monetization there. There's the CFO of the management group that manages Marshmello says their goal is to expand into original music and storylines later this year with an eye towards toys and other consumer goods in 2021. And, I can't really decry them the opportunity to make money on this, but, kids' toys are a huge demographic and they make a lot of money.
I definitely agree.
Yeah, so this is, it's nice, but also, it is a business opportunity at the end of the day.
For sure, for sure.
But I mean, on that same note, Monster Cat is doing a lot of stuff with video games geared towards young children. They just announced a Roblox partnership, which is one of the biggest video games for young kids. But they also just announced a Fortnite partnership. What they're going to be doing really quick is the Radio Yonder in the in-game radio playlist is going to allow fans in the Battle Royale mode to stream 20 tracks from the label. So you're going to be listening to Slushy, Abstract, Dion Timmer, Sullivan King, Pegboard Nerds, and more. And as we both know, Fortnite is also, well, it's a game for all ages, but the player base skews young compared to like Call of Duty.
Yeah, we don't play Fortnite. We're not part of that demographic.
I mean, I played Fortnite while I was waiting for Call of Duty to come out.
Right.
Like that was my interim game.
Right.
Yeah, I think I also played Destiny too, but I mean that's beside the point. But yeah, I mean, so
what does this Joyride update entail? So I remember vaguely seeing that you can or they have cars that you could just ride around in now in Fortnite.
Apparently, I mean, I don't play Fortnite, so I'm not sure. I'm just going off, actually, yeah. So it's part of the game's new Joyride update, not to be confused with the artist Joyride. So there are some vehicle options on the website. Looks like you can get sort of like a sedan, a little bit of a Corvette type thing, a pickup truck, a diesel 16-wheeler without the hitch. So yeah, they all have radio stations you can play. Monster Cat is apparently not the only one, but they do have their own station, which is pretty cool.
That's pretty rad. I think we were talking about this like a week ago when they kind of announced their Roblox partnership, and I feel like we're going to just see more and more of this as time goes on.
Yeah.
We were playing Season 5, Call of Duty Warzone. Yeah. Just came out, having so much fun, and they added something pretty similar to this, but with their own original songs. And I was like, hey, Matt,
do
this, but with a label. not
Yeah,
just like your metal music, but hard hitting drum and bass, dubstep.
dude, oh my god! Dude, imagine driving a car in Warzone and you just hear what is it? Drowning Pool's Bodies, like as your war cry, just be like, let the bodies hit the floor, and you're driving into the final circle.
Or you're just bumping Major Lazer, just like going over a hill. Or like
Exactly.
flying into Warzone or the stadium or something.
Yeah, it's not something that would improve gameplay, but it's something that would like greatly elevate user experience.
Yeah, and it would share all these artists' music to more and more platforms than just Spotify or something like that.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. It's a nice way for artists to diversify, especially in quarantine when they're not playing live shows. That's something that they really, really need to do.
Right.
And actually, I didn't even mean to do that. That's a great segue into our next segment, EDC. So as we all know, EDC, well, I mean, maybe not as we all know, but EDC, the annual festival in Las Vegas, actually postponed its original May dates this year to October, and then actually finally canceled October when they weren't able to implement the testing strategies that they wanted to. So the tickets for EDC Las Vegas 2021 went on sale earlier this week, and they sold out overnight. They sold out in 12 hours.
Right. They went on sale yesterday.
Right? I think Thursday?
Oh, Thursday. Okay.
Thursday or Wednesday. Yeah.
And they sold out.
And they sold out overnight.
Wow.
Yeah. which I mean, like, EDC is such a huge festival. It's not especially uncommon, but we're in the middle of a pandemic and we don't know when this is going to end. So for the fact that it sold out completely in 12 hours when we don't 100% know there's even going to be a festival next year.
Mm-hmm.
And also, to be fair, it sold out that quickly because when this year's edition was canceled, there were still people who held onto their tickets for 2021. So it wasn't like there was a whole batch of tickets that was being sold the entire festival. There just had to be it just had to be filled up. But it's still interesting to think about because, I mean, it's not the first festival to sell tickets for 2021. There have been a lot of others. There was Primavera Sound, and others. But it's also happening in May, which is, just a month after Coachella is supposed to happen next year.
Right.
And, we just don't know if there's going to be a festival, especially not at the scale that EDC is.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, would you money not an option? Would you have bought a ticket to EDC next year?
Not sure, man. It's kind of like so where I work right now, we're thinking of opening up the offices again, and they gave it's a voluntary decision. You don't have to work in the office, but it's just kind of like, man, like at first I had some faith, but now just if one person has the virus and they go, then like we all know what's going to happen. There's just going to be another outbreak there. I guess people just have faith in a vaccine at the time EDC 2021 rolls around. Sure that they'll have screening processes to make it as safe as possible, but when you're packed in like that in a gigantic festival of that magnitude, and I can't predict what'll happen in the future, but I mean, since from what we've seen, over the past few months, in terms of large gatherings or anything like that, or just, I don't know, man. I don't think I would.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing was their layaway plan was just $10 down payment, so it wasn't a huge financial investment if you wanted to space it out over time.
Right.
So that's also a factor in how it sold out so quickly. But I think for $10 with the option to just get a refund if it cancels, why not? But as for whether I would actually go next year, I don't know.
If I had like a 6 foot by 6 foot, or no, 12 foot by 12 foot square like
Yeah.
area I could be in, you know,
Yep. There was a
as
dude.
far back.
There was a guy on TikTok who engineered a helmet with like a laser that would go around his head in a 6 foot radius.
We live in strange fucking times, man.
2020, man. 2020.
2020.
I don't get it. But there's a lot of things this year that are just really, really strange. Which is another great segue. I am on a roll. Damn. So speaking of strange things, a couple of things have happened in the past, week or two that have us maybe scratching our heads, but definitely, kind of wondering what's going on here. The first one is Steve Aoki is helping to produce a new musical focusing on Mozart's sister, which I'm sure most people don't even know he had a sister. And I did a little digging on Wikipedia. So the musical is about his sister, who's nicknamed Nan, not sure, who was actually his oldest sister, who was born, 5 years before him. But her full name is Maria Anna, and he actually had 3 previous sisters named Maria Anna. The first 2 died before they were a year old, and Maria Anna, who is nicknamed Nanerl, I'm not really sure how to pronounce that, but she actually lived fairly long, about 78 years, which back in the 1700s is pretty significant. But the synopsis for the story reads, when the young virtuosa is silenced and banned from all artistic endeavors, she rebels. In this untold story of the greatest composer of all time, meaning Mozart, 2 siblings embark on a journey of love, hate, tragedy, and redemption. Which I feel like you could say that about any movie.
Anything.
Or musical or story, yeah. But
Right.
but the thing is, apparently the musical features music from Steve Aoki, which I don't know how they're gonna get music from Steve Aoki into a Mozart musical.
Right. I mean, we've kind of seen something like this before. I remember Dead Mouse. I forgot which orchestra it was, but I mean, I think you actually went to it.
I went to it. I believe it was April 1st. I want to say 2018. That was a bit different. He wasn't creating a musical. He was creating an orchestral version out of his own music. So it wasn't a musical, but it was definitely orchestral, and it was really fun. But yeah, this I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely curious. I'm definitely intrigued.
Right. I mean, I brought up the Dead Mouse thing because it's an example of an EDM producer kind of. I don't know if getting out of their comfort zone is a good way to put it, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, them playing around in Ableton. For a musical, you're actually composing music and writing music.
Exactly.
And, obviously with lyrics to tell a story. So it's like completely far from what an EDM, production would be, or what an EDM producer would do. Right.
Yeah. And for Steve Aoki to do it alone, like, you can think of
Yeah.
some other people like Dead Mouse who might be able to do it. But
Mhm.
Steve Aoki, I don't know, more power to him. I want to see how it turns out. But another kind of strange thing that's happened in the past week or two is you remember Fire Festival?
I remember the wave of tweets, the tweet storm that just went down that day.
Yeah, Fire Festival, right?
Yeah.
Well, apparently Fire Festival had victims. I mean, obviously the people who were there stranded without food and shelter are victims, but it's hard to call people with trust funds victims,
Yeah.
But apparently there was a whole bunch of merchandise that was seized by the U.S. Marshals when they arrested the founders, Ja Rule and what's his face, I can't remember his
Something
name.
McFarlane.
Billy McFarland. Yeah.
Yeah.
So apparently, the U.S. Marshals are auctioning off pieces of merch from the festival, official merch, to benefit the victims. All the money is going to go to them. And what did it say? So I believe, yes. So the victims who got the money, they would get a percentage based on their respective losses. So I guess if they paid for a VIP package or something, they would get more of the auction money.
Okay.
But let me take a look at these items really quick, because the auction has been online since July 31st, and it's going until August 13th.
It's just a bunch of merch from...
There's just a bunch of like hats and pins and sweaters and stuff. Dude, some of these items are up to like $500. There's a crew neck sweatshirt with a hand-sewn label, just a white sweatshirt with like fire on the front. There's been 46 bids on it, and it's up to $505.
I wonder if the victims are bidding on their own on the merch.
Was it to try and like inflate the prices
or something? I don't know, because I wouldn't in a million years pay $500 for a Firefest crew neck.
Neither would I. I mean, there's even a pair of like black fire wristbands, like the rubber ones. There's been 11 bids on that, and they're up to $52. I would.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, some of this stuff is, I don't know. Like, I feel like having a piece of Fire Festival merch would, like, walk into a club with some fire merch. Like, really, who is this guy?
Did you go?
Did you go? Yeah, I just bought it in an auction. Like, maybe I did go. You don't know. I don't have to tell you. But I mean, it's such a strange concept.
It'd be great to see that stuff in a museum, in like a glass case.
In the Smithsonian?
Yeah, just like they have a section, sectioned off for
the remnants of fire.
Remnants of fire and other failed festivals, and they could put the Minecraft one in there too somehow.
I wonder how. Yeah, that'd be incredible. Yeah. So yeah, that's ending August 13th. I guess we can put a link to the description, a link to the auction in the description.
Yeah,
why not check it out?
Throw in your bids, support the victims.
Yeah, but moving on, we've had a bunch of new music over the past week or two. What I know you really are looking forward to one, Vince. You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, I saw this morning, just as a surprise in Madian's Instagram story, and he announced that he put The Prince up for pre-save on Spotify. And what did I write about it? Where is it? I called it a 100 BPM mellow bump that sounds like Daft Punk and Gestapelstein had a baby. And it's a great track. I think it debuted during Secret Sky Festival during his stream set, and it was pretty rad. And the visuals were rad, and everyone should watch it.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll have a link to that in the description below as well. But yeah, it's his first like new original piece of music since he released Good Faith. Was that the name of it? Yeah. Good Faith. I believe so, yeah. Released his sophomore album November 15th last year. And he did a remix of No Faith No More with Earth Gang. No Fear No More. Sorry, I was getting Good Faith and that mixed up. But he did a remix of that with Earth Gang pretty recently. But this is going to be his first piece of all original music since then. So I'm pretty excited for that.
Yeah.
But on that sort of tip, Kavinsky, the guy who did that song called Night Call, is coming out with his new album this year, his first album since 2013. And I'm not sure how familiar you are with Kavinsky, but this is really, really special to me. I saw him at Hard Day of the Dead, I want to say 2012 or 2013. And it was just such a fun set. But his music is so, so cool. And out of nowhere, he just put up a track list for his next album and was like, hey, new album. Get ready.
I'm
back.
doing this.
About time we're doing this. And I didn't think that people were going to care about it, but he's got about 9,000 likes on the post. It's not a whole lot, but I think I'm confident it's going to be one of the best albums this year. I'm not fond of putting the cart before the horse, but I am so excited for this album.
There's definitely an appreciation for it. I'm not too familiar with Kavinsky. I listened to Night Call, and it's kind of like synth wavy. I don't really know how to describe it.
It's very synth wavy.
Yeah.
But completely different from that. Rez and Gravitz released their song Someone Else. And Rez has collaborated with a bunch of different artists, and one of them was actually Under Oath for her last EP. What was it called? Beyond the Senses. Yeah, last year. But now she actually has Under Oath remixing one of her tracks and putting their own spin on Someone Else with Gravitz, and it is so good. It's probably one of my favorite. It's hype. It's super metal. It's like a great crossovers between dance music and metal, and I don't know. It's one of my favorite tracks in the past week, at least.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy and makes you want to mosh and makes you miss shows so much. Like, can you imagine that at a live show?
That's what I was gonna say. Is I wonder like how that would go over in an actual Rez set. Like I feel like it would go over a bit better in a Gravitz set. But Rez, some of her stuff is pretty heavy, but it's not like raw. It's all very like well produced. But Under Oath just gets raw with that sound, and I think that's like my most enjoyable part of it because it's such a stark contrast to the natural Rez sound.
And the vocals are really good. Is that Gravitz singing?
So yeah, Gravitz vocals are still in the track, but they also have the vocals from Under Oath singers Aaron Gillespie and Spencer Chamberlain. So
there's someone screaming in there too, I think.
Yeah, and it's all like beautifully harmonized. Like they didn't they didn't take Melodyne to Gravitz's vocals. They didn't change a thing. They just harmonized with him, and it came out so great.
Definitely check that track out. The vocals that Gravitz did, they really remind me of like late 2000s, like Linkin Park or something. I like can't, spot it, but it kind of has that like tone to it, and it's perfect.
Yeah, I get that.
And on that note, our last little bit of new music, ODESZA came out with a new album.
Sorta, yes. Well, yes and no. Well, I mean, yes, they did, but but they came out with an album for their new project, which is a collaboration with Golden Features from Australia called Bronson, and the album is also called Bronson. It's different than either of them have done before, and I think that's what really brings the beauty to it. Is it's such an interesting album. It's 14 tracks, I believe, and you heard it there a little bit. It's actually 10 tracks. So yeah, you got a little preview. Don't demonetize us, YouTube. But yeah, it's 10 tracks, and the trio, ODESZA, the duo, and Golden Features, they said of the album, this record isn't like anything any of us have done before. It's a creative departure from the worlds of ODESZA and Golden Features, but that's the beauty of it and the fundamental intention of the project. They wanted to do something different, and I think, I wouldn't ever force an artist to compose a new alias when they need to do something different. I think artists should have the ability and the freedom to experiment within their own brand, but at the same time, when you have a collaboration like this, creating a whole new brand for it can also be a large positive. And I think that exploring these new sounds as a new artist group has a lot of weight to it.
Just potential.
Just potential. That's a better word for it. Potential. Yes. Thank you.
Right.
You'd think I would know words. But that.
But
Yeah,
it's kind of like the way Porter Robinson did Virtual Self. You know, Virtual Self is kind of like its own thing and not really the Porter thing.
exactly. Exactly the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a great album. Go listen to it. Yeah. Well, I think that does it for us at EDM Chatters. I hope you enjoyed our ramblings and maybe learned a thing or two. I'm Matt,
I'm Vince.
and we're signing off.
And yeah, don't forget to follow us on Twitch as well as like this video and subscribe to our channel here on YouTube. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye,
See you
guys.
later, guys. Bye.